this one guy could lose his life over it.
That might be.
So you think they should stop selling the alcohol during the game then?
Yes.
At some point, or just?
Yeah, if that would help the situation. Because you know how those guys can get out of a game. I mean, they can go through 4 or 5 beers, nothing in a giant.
Although I will say this, and I have seen this in action, that they used to do that at certain indoor soccer games when the MISL was there. They'd stop selling beer that didn't really seem to affect the idiot quotient, because what would happen is the guys knew it. They'd tank up beforehand. You know, it's like, well, you know, I've got a party of 16 and they're the only one there, and they're bringing the beers back to and they're gonna get it. I think enforcement is key. I think penalties are key.
Yes.
You take the people who do it and slap them down hard. Make an example, almost draconian. You make an example of them. Okay, so when they come out of their liquor-induced stupor and they feel like they've been booted to the skull and they're facing financial penalties, criminal penalties, all sorts of black marks against their record, people of like mind are going to go, oh, well, maybe I don't want to do that. And I think,
well,
I like that idea. Just punish the hell out of them the first time around.
Yeah. But
Set an
it
example.
also comes down to, I don't agree with cutting off the alcohol sales.
That's not going to happen. There's too much money involved. It's not going to happen.
But again, how do you do
How
that?
much money is it going to cost for you to get drunk at a game? Because watered down beers
ridiculous.
are expensive there. So what are you going to do?
As much as you like beer, it's going to take a little bit.
It's ridiculous.
It's going to
But
take
at the
a
same,
little bit.
okay, let's say, okay, they check all IDs. People who are of age can drink. You use wristbands or something like that.
Yeah.
And you, okay, 2, 3, I don't know, however many beers you want to say maximum you can have at the game, or during how many innings of the game. What about that? Because an average game is what, about 3 hours?
Yeah,
It's about
2.5.
2.5. Yeah. So I mean, you can have a few beers and you'll be fine, but you don't want to get stupid drunk. So why not limiting it?
Also look at it like this. That's where law enforcement should be taking place, where the sporting team and the field, along with law enforcement, needs to be very active with that. They need to be proactive. When they start seeing people getting out of hand, it needs to be, you're out of here.
Yeah.
And
You
if
need
you
to take
get
care
into
of
a
it
fight,
before it gets
you're
really
not coming back. Ever. Just have it that simple.
And another thing that I find, football games are tailgated pretty heavily, right? Obviously. Now, take baseball games. Now, I don't know what the tailgating is like for baseball games. Is there a tailgating atmosphere?
You really can't.
You really can't.
Parking's not there.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But let's take other ones. I would imagine that such things are prevalent, and I think the idiots or the assholes who do this have a tendency to drink beforehand. They get started early. That's where banning alcohol sales probably doesn't have a whole lot of bearing on whether or not you actually get these guys, because these guys have a screw loose anyway. And so I think, again, we get back to enforcement. When they start acting the fool, you got to have eyes on them in a hurry, okay? Because we can spot them. You've been to a game where people are acting like idiots, right? You can tell right away. They're louder, they're more obnoxious, their language is horrible, okay? In comparison, it's like they stand out like bad acoustics. Cops, security, anybody should be able to see these guys.
But then again, you also, I don't care if you're enforcing it 99.9% of that time, there is that 0.01 that always gets past that line. There always is.
Yeah.
So, but are you going to live in fear because of that 0.01? Are you really going to?
You can't.
I wouldn't.
Does that mean that maybe they should be checking at the gate for people who are
Already drunk?
drunk?
You mean like breathalyzing and stuff like that?
Yeah. That would be pretty easy to do.
I think so.
Well, if you think about it, the thousands of people that are going in.
Yeah, that might be a little...
I mean, AT&T Park holds how many
You're
people?
getting 42,000 people through the gates pretty damn fast. That would be pretty tough to do. Short of a visual.
And then it's, what is the actual cutoff? You know, because you're at a game, why can't you enjoy a little bit of some drinking? But when is enough before they can't come in?
Well, again, what happens if you go there with your wife, and your wife really isn't a drinker, and you're cut off at 3 beers? Okay, you buy 3 beers for yourself, your wife gets 3 beers too, so she buys 3, you just had 6.
Boom.
There you go.
I'm not gonna lie. There's always a loophole and there's always a way around. There always
they
is.
really get the security. They get the security and law enforcement working very tightly and being on top of these people.
Yeah.
Which
You just have to have that presence.
I think that's a good idea, but what I don't want to see is TSA at the gate.
I agree.
Checking it out.
No.
I mean, that's what it's going to come down to if you're expecting
The
all
full
this.
body scans now and everything.
It's just ridiculous.
One me, please.
Adam with a rifle,
no,
we're in
thank you.
trouble.
You want to call the Air Force in?
What is this switch on the side of it? What is this? What does this thing do?
You're just gonna see some.
He has a Claymore mine. Front towards enemy. I don't understand it.
Hey, don't go there. When I was going through Claymore training, we actually had a person that turned it front towards enemy, towards themselves.
Wow. So you know the firing pin on that, right? You know it's a small electrified explosive. We actually had a guy when we were going through it blew his fucking jaw off.
How do you blow your jaw?
And he pulled it with his mouth, didn't he? What a moron. They said don't drop it. Don't touch the fucking pin. They said don't touch it. Kid, you know like a 9-volt battery? Bink. Boom. Just blew his whole jaw.
How do you explain that to mom?
Exactly. He was signed down.
Wait. I'm just going to say this. If the Air Force were to show up for these games and actually enforce some sort of rules or regulations, the only thing that would be happening is they would be calling in an airstrike going, release the boxing gloves, release the boxing gloves. They're not going to blow them up. Come on.
But understand the military doesn't trust the Air Force enough with claymores.
Yeah, that's true too.
Just like we don't trust you enough with anything more than a 177.
And a rubber band.
This is the business end, right?
I think the take on this, gentlemen, joking aside, is the public needs to be made aware of these changes to going to these baseball games, football games, and so forth. If it was put on the ticket itself, there would have to be some sort of acknowledgement on the Ticketmaster site or wherever website where you get your ticket saying, look, if you're going to this game, whatever sports arena, doesn't matter. Here's a list. Here's what you need to acknowledge to, and if you break those rules, you're done. They should enforce it where if it's 3 strikes and you're out, and once on the 3rd strike, say to do something extreme like you're not allowed to go to any more games of this particular season for this particular sport. You know, that would wake people up.
How about getting Mr. Fuji from Singapore to cane him?
That would be extreme, but I think it could work.
Think of it like a caning booth.
Maybe during the 7th inning stretch, they can bring him out onto the field.
One lucky fan gets to do the caning.
Yes,
That's great.
it's called entertainment.
He's gonna be replacing Winston. I'm sorry. Oh, what was a funny shirt I saw? I was leaving the game the other a couple weeks ago, and it said "Let Timmy smoke." I thought that was the funniest shirt.
Yes. Wow. I love the zigzag shirt with Tim Lincecum's face in it. He's got a big doobie in his mouth.
The shirt I loved the best was for, we were suggesting for a friend of ours who was getting a divorce. It said, "I would call you a cunt, but you lack the depth of the warmth."
There was another one I liked. It was "I love my Wilson hairy, but I love my Posey shaved."